Hey, this ain't a drill. Only time I'm playing is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we about to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. 716 make them pay with some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshon and hit talk about the Bills. Dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill when we talk about the Bills. Dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
What's going on? Welcome back to another live episode of the Postpodiumpodcast, baby. It's the home of the all truth, no sodium takes. Bam, there it is right there. It's official up in that top left-hand corner. We are officially sponsored by Ree's Tea, the best tasting tea in town. I am your co-host, Aramis.
It's 40 Keys.
40 Key in the house. What's going on, bro?
Hey, man, you know, I'm just trying to get these people what they want. Give them a nice little show between works. Well,
you know what I'm saying?
You know, between works.
Yeah, right. Between works is right. Man, listen, I got the text, and you was like, yo, I'm burning on some stuff.
Y'all burning.
And I was like, let's do it.
You're like, give it up. Let's do it. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, first and foremost, it all stems from the Bills after practice on, Tuesday.
Okay.
Trying out 4 or 5, DBs on the side field right after training camp practice, of which one was the guy we signed. Was it Terrell
Burgess?
Burris. Burgess, yeah. Okay. You know, I'll be okay with that. Safety from Utah, so you know we have some familiarity with the schemes that Cole Bishop was in. Mm-hmm. I think he was like a 4-4 or something like that in college. Ray didn't play much. He was a starter senior year.
He's a third-round pick too, wasn't he?
Third-round pick. 1 interception in his career. So half a set, 1 interception in his career, college career. So that's 4 years. So I mean that's insurance. What really burned me was what we always talk about. What we keep talking about, and bringing in old retread labor. Kareem Jackson, I'm talking to you. I mean, the thing is, when are you going to start trusting your board? When are you going to start trusting the draft process? I know
they're not polished. They're not polished.
See, that's the thing. See, people are going to say, you know, well, Cole Bishop went down to injury and Kareem Jackson. No, Kareem Jackson was in the works before that. Kareem Jackson was signed before Cole Bishop got hurt because he was at the practice that Cole Bishop got hurt in, practicing. So he was already in the works. So they had no faith in Cole Bishop, who's been taking starting reps. They had no faith in Dwayne Hamlin, who's by all intents and purposes, all accounts, been a darling at training camp and the OTAs previous. They had no faith in Cam Lewis. They had no faith in Micah Hyde coming back. They know that. Right. But the thing is, what are you doing? You know, you have 18 DBs on this team right now. 18 DBs. You got, I think 16 offensive linemen, 18 defensive linemen. But you still go out and you get people that's telling me right now you don't believe in who you have in the locker room right now. If you're still going out to get the guys.
Do you think it could also be just because I could imagine Sean saying something to the effect of, well, we just need bodies for camp.
But 18 of them.
Right. And the other part of this is too, like, if you just need bodies for camp, you don't sign a Kareem Jackson. Like Terrell Burgess would be a camp body. Like that would be justifiable. Yes. You know what I'm saying? But you go out and get a guy like Kareem Jackson, who has been on some really good teams. He's a great player, even though he's kind of getting up there in age. I mean, this is just one of those situations where your actions don't match your words, typically.
What I always say. Gotta say what I just say. The development, they draft, develop, and retain.
Yeah.
Which one of the three are they actually doing? They're not drafting for anything because the guys that draft, Kyer Elam, I went down the list. I was talking to somebody just the other day, maybe it was yesterday, about all the guys that we drafted because he's talking about how McDermott's the best coach since forever. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, he's on a trajectory to be our best ever coach once he surpasses Marv Levy. But at the same time, don't act like he doesn't have thorns. He has flaws, right. And the sooner that we realize that we traded up for Cody Ford, we traded up for Zay Jones, we traded up for Boogie Basham, people like that. For what? We're not using them. They're not on the team.
Right.
And if you go into the last draft, you're looking at if they really needed a safety. There were guys in the draft that we took. Ray Davis. I'm gonna say we took Cedric Van Pran over. I think I have a list here somewhere so I can find it. But yeah, I mean, we took, we went into the draft with obviously an objective, and that was to get better at the offensive line. That was to get better in the defensive line area. The running back, they wanted to solidify that. But when you look at what they keep bringing back Darrington Evans. They keep bringing back Ilianku. They keep bringing back, but none of these guys they're not making the team.
Right.
They don't. This is like when you go to Olive Garden at Zuppa Toscana, you got to go to the bottom of the thing to get to the meat.
Listen, don't talk about my soup, man.
That's my favorite. That's the only reason I go to Olive Garden. You ever dipped in breadsticks? Never mind.
Oh my God, all the time.
I don't even use the spoon.
Just bowl to the face.
No, the breadsticks. It's like fufu only with the breadstick. I just dip it in there, hold it.
And brought the fufu back up. Listen. It's one thing that these guys don't even make the team, but the ones that do make the team, they don't do anything after they make the team.
Nope.
Like they're literally practice bodies, or they're on the practice squad trying to pretend to be somebody that they could never be.
Exactly.
And what's funny is when you hear the players talk about how the practice squad players help them so much. How? You're better than they are.
Right.
Like you can exactly. You can it's like having a robot to practice moves on. Like if the robot is programmed to be worse than you, what benefit are you really getting off of it? It's just the body. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, just like Kevin just said in the comments, the focus should have been just on better players. Yes.
Right.
The thing is, if you really want to develop a team, you got to make sure, even if they're practice squad, you only keep the best of the best. So I would go into his hand, I'm going to keep my top 4 or 5 practice squad players from last year's holdovers. Then I'll try to find another 11 to fill in the rest of that I didn't have before. I need a good look.
Right.
When you bring in those 5 guys to practice to try out for that safety position, 2 other ones should probably be on the practice squad. That's how I look at it. If you're going to do something like that, you definitely want to make sure that you have a pipeline of players that are on your practice squad. And they keep saying, I want to make sure I don't let Chase Claypool hit the practice squad because he'll get poached. He wasn't good enough to be in 53. And to double down with that, you're outside looking at other teams. You're looking at the roster to try to fill in the practice squad. Make it make sense.
So let me ask you this: what would be your rectification? What's your solution that we should look for if Sean is really trying to right the ship?
At this point in time, like you said, guys like Burgess, guys like Hamlin, guys that we didn't have on the team before that actually can press to do something. Burgess in the right system might be the next Poyer. He might be the next Hyde. But it's up to you to identify where they fit in your scheme. And if you're just keep bringing back the guys you've seen already, you obviously don't like them enough to actually field them. You don't like them enough to actually be on your roster, but you keep bringing them back because I'm familiar with them. But you're also familiar with the divisional round of the playoffs. But you know what you're not familiar with? The Super Bowl. You're not familiar with the AFC Championship.
Right.
You've seen it, but you're not familiar with it. Get familiar with that, and then figure out what got you there. What is the formula that you got to tweak and change to keep going back? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. How do you want to do the rest of this? Do you want to go through?
I don't know what to rant, man. I want to rant. No,
listen. Okay, I'm here for you. Let's go.
No. Let's see. Oh, I got stuff we heard. You want to hear what Mr. Devontae Adams said?
Yes, I do.
Devontae Adams said the Bills and Commanders have the worst fan bases in the league.
So, I guess that means we're not trading for him anytime soon.
That you can trade, but like AB said, I ain't going.
Right. Wait. No. Okay. So let me ask you this: do you really think, at this point in his career, when the only thing left for him to do is to chase a championship, he's not doing that with Vegas? I'm sorry. He's just not.
That's why he wants out.
Right. Their quarterbacks are Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. They're not getting anything this year.
No.
Anyway. I don't know. Like, I think if the Bills made the move, he'd have to change his tune.
Well, this is where he just turns into a little female. Master didn't say that. He turns, because it's not that's not even a degradation. He turns into a little whiny brat. Because this is why he hates the Commanders. Are they the Commanders now? Or do they go back to the Washington football team, Redskins? I don't know what they are anymore.
No, I think they're still the Commanders.
For now,
wait, they're supposed to. Yeah,
because of the Native American population, for the most part, said they wanted them to go back to the Redskins.
What?
So I don't know. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know about that?
No.
Yeah. They actually have they didn't file a grievance, but they were mad because the name was changed and the imagery on the helmet was actually designed by a Native American, one of the tribal Native Americans. So that's an actual guy.
That's dope. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, he's an actual, at one point in time, living person that they have on the side of the helmet. And the logo was designed by Native Americans and so on and so forth. So in saying that, a lot of them, they petitioned to get the name back.
So how conspiracy theory type stuff, like think about that for a second, because now it looks like there was an agenda to get it off the helmet to spite the Native Americans.
You know what it is? I think it's one of those deals where the Black Lives Matter movement, where everybody's overly sensitive now.
Well, yeah. So, I think that was the face of it, but like, I mean, we know there's other agendas that kind of get snuck in with bills and stuff. Like, that's just how the government works. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was something that somebody saw an opportunity in. Hey, there's this this movement going on. Let's get the face off the helmet. Redskins have to, you know what I mean? Now here's the funny part about it. There was a guy, I don't remember his name, but you know the guy that used to walk around with the Caucasians t-shirt on.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? He used to walk around with this t-shirt with a logo in the middle of it of just a regular dude. You couldn't tell if it was white or black or orange or purple or whatever. But under that, it said Caucasians, right? And he used to post these videos of people getting so pissed off at him wearing this t-shirt that said Caucasians, and it looked just like the Redskins t-shirt, just different logo, same text type and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be funny if he was part of that movement that was like, we gonna spite the Native Americans, we gonna get that off the helmet and change the name just because, you know what I mean? Like, that sounds like a Dan Snyder special.
You know what's funny about that though? Because there was protests about the Cleveland Indians. There was protests about Florida State Seminoles. There was protests about, even the Chiefs doing the arrow chop.
Yeah, that's right.
But the funny thing is the actual team that has the Native Americans face in a derogatory term, Redskins, as their thing, is the one they want back. But they're still trying to get rid of the Indians. Well, I think they got rid of Indians. There's something else now, aren't they?
Cleveland, yeah.
There's something else.
I don't remember what they are.
Yeah, I mean the Seminoles, they have a white student dressed up in Indian garb with the face paint and that's kind of messed up. At least go get yourself a normal Native American and the axe chop. I mean, you could finagle that however you want, but it's just funny to me that this team is the one that's like, yo, get that back. That term that some people take it differently than others, that Native Americans take it differently than others, but it's just weird. Yeah, I didn't know you didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, but I'd love to see it change back.
I mean, I feel sorry for everybody with the merchandise, but
oh man, they got to go back through it again.
So I just got the new one. I had the LeVar Arrington. I just changed it, but no.
Well, imagine all those people that kept the old Redskins jerseys as just memorabilia.
We back, baby.
Right.
We back.
That's right. Everybody throwing their stuff back on. All types of videos coming out about it. Man.
I can wear it again. Woo! Now, Laura, this is not a new set. What this is I can't go to the game tomorrow, but these Aramis and our other comrade Melly Mack are going to the red and blue game. So we weren't going to do a show, but I was like, you know what? I told her, hey, I'm gonna do it myself. He said, nah, you can't do it by yourself. I come on
didn't
with
say
you.
That.
I know.
What this really is, then, to answer your question, Laura, yes, because we were late AF. That's why I was trying to make sure we got the frame, with the logos and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's a whole thing that I literally just created like a little over an hour ago. And then getting here, trying to set everything up. I didn't get here till like 6. So by the time we were all set up and ready to go and making sure that all this stuff worked, we were late. So
I got my second job uniform on right now because as soon as I get out of here,
yeah.
As soon as I got my stuff,
you collared up.
Yeah, this ain't corporate. This is blue collar nonsense right now. Thanks, Laura. But no, you know what? Going back to why I even brought the Redskins or whatever, Devontae Adams, he said the reason why he hates the Washington football team, which he didn't even acknowledge them as commanders, he just said Washington football team. He said they're obviously just miserable because the stadium is horrible. The city is not great at all. That's what he said about them. What he said about us. This is why I say he a little. Well, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have the buttons today.
I know. That's what I'm trying to
trying to time it right, but if it come out wrong, I apologize to Kim for me.
Yeah, well, he's all right. He's heard worse. He said about Buffalo, he said all the snowballs and all that during the game. That's just a lack of respect for another man. You paid to come see my game, and you're more focused on hitting me with a snowball. Yes, sir. Yes, you got that backwards as ever.
Exactly. I paid to hit you with a snowball. That's it. It's the name of the game. When I go to the carnival, I pay money to shoot at those little ducks and knock them down so I can get a prize, right? You are the same thing, Devontae Adams. I'm sorry. That's just what it is.
I mean, it is what it is, right?
Right. That's it.
I was at a Bears game. This is probably 2000 and I want to say 2. Where Ted Washington came back. And in Buffalo, he was Mr. Beloved Ted Washington, nose tackle, all extraordinaire. Yeah. Well, I happened to be sitting on the side, the Bears side, and he was walking around he was on the cart, right? And he wasn't even dressed. Somebody threw water at him, hit him in the face with a water bottle. It's Ted Washington. He once was somebody for Mr. Devontae Adams. You were never a nobody for us at all. So guess what? You will get snowballed. Did you not see Miami? Did you not see what happened to Mahomes last year?
Yeah. Listen, we used to throw batteries at folk. He lucky we ain't still doing that.
What did he throw at Tom Brady? Never mind. Never mind that. Won't even go there.
Something a little wobbly.
Something a little wobbly.
Something
that might or might not cause a good time later on in the evening.
No offense. This is body watching this, please.
No. Ain't no offense. It could be a Roku remote. It could be, a Posturepito pillow.
Wow. Let's just move this right along.
Yeah.
Let's just.
It could be anything. Let's see. What do I have? Oh, speaking of somebody that is in high regard, Mike Evans. He said he considered signing with the Chiefs before he went back to Tampa. He was going to go to the Chiefs.
What made him stop?
I don't know. Maybe Tampa offered more money because I don't know.
Well, I don't think he would be used the same way in Kansas City either.
But he would get that ring, though, probably.
Well, yeah. I mean, if they brought a weapon like him in, I'm sorry, that would be tough. That would be tough.
You probably get that jewelry. So
yeah,
I thought that was interesting. Okay. Now let me ask you this: are we allowing elite players their considerations, their say, to weigh too heavily in our personnel decisions? The reason why I asked that, we have a wide receiver that we just signed this year that may not make the team, but everybody is saying he's got to make the team because he is what? A $2-point-something million cap hit. MVS. The reason why MVS, well, one of the main reasons MVS is here is because Josh wanted him, and they hit it off when he came in to visit. He had him over to his house. He cooked dinner for him, or somebody cooked, and they loved each other. Okay. Josh said, I want him. Trent Sherfield was another one that Josh said, I want him. And obviously our favorite, Matt Barkley, another one that I want him. He's got to be here. Right. I think the one want that I know of that we had to have, and I'm glad we do it at Trubisky, because that goes into what I said before the season was over when I said I'm tired of having 1-year quarterbacks. And Trubisky does have the start. It could have been Trubisky or Shane Bussell. I take Trubisky as a starter any day of the week over Bussell.
Right.
So I will say if that was a Josh Allen, I want Trubisky on the team because I'm familiar with him and the Bills, they liked him. I agree with that. But, going forward with Von Miller, who didn't he say we were going to get on his team? Did any of them come? OBJ?
Not at all.
Derrick Henry? Anybody? I'm waiting. Mr. GM extraordinaire, you're not doing too well. And Daquan Jones advocated for Austin Johnson. That was his guy. I'm pretty sure the Bills had a plan at hand for the nose tackle when they signed Branson Dean out of Miami, University of Miami in Florida. Tough nose tackle, very strong. For guys that don't know who he is, take a look at him tomorrow. 53. I didn't know who he was when I first saw him. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But you know what, Kev? I ain't gonna say nothing about Matt because even though he doesn't wear shoes, there's something about him. That I rock with him. I rock with Mac. So yeah, okay. So I'll give you that. I'll give you Mac Hollins as well. But just as these guys that we have on the team, we have Ilianku already, who is the biggest defensive tackle we have, but he's not a one tech, but he's still here for some reason. He's never.
No, I was just gonna say I think he's one of those practice squad dudes, or he's one of those practice players that just gives them a
practice squad.
Yeah, 100%.
So I mean, it's like okay, it's cool to have some input when you're talking to Josh or somebody like that, but at the same time, these knee-jerk reactions with the with the Deontay Hardys and MVS and all this stuff. You got to do your research. You got to do your research. Trent Sherfield was a bust out, but he wasn't a bust because he was 1.7 mil. That was whatever. He was a practice squad guy. Like that practice squad.
Right. It's tough when you bring up Trent Sherfield because Trent Sherfield is one of those guys where when he got an opportunity, he you know what I mean? Like he showed out. Like I can't say showed out.
No,
he played good.
No, what I'm saying when I say he's a practice squad guy, what I'm saying is that he's the kind of guy that he's his first year on the team.
Yeah.
And I like what I see out of this guy. I think he could be more, but he's not quite there. He can go to the practice squad. Mm-hmm. Not Elian Kuz, not Matt Barkley's, not all these other guys that keep coming back. Brian Thompson's and the guys you just know that they don't want to let go anywhere else because they don't want them to get poached by anybody.
So you're going back to the point we were talking about before, where the practice squad needs to be used as more of a farm system as opposed to a cupboard for toys you like to keep around and entertain everybody.
Right. I mean, my thing is, if practice squad, it can be week to week. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you're here today, going tomorrow. Every week, I can find somebody to replace you, and that's what you should be trying to do. It's not just on the main roster. You should be trying to replace guys in our practice squad because this guy is better than that guy, and I want to get a better look at him. That's why you do that. Guys that are sitting in free agency, let me just get them in the building and talk to him, and let him run and see what he looks like with our guys. That's what the practice squad is for, not guys you're just trying to hold because you couldn't sneak them on your 53.
Right.
And that's the nonsense I'm looking at because I had another talking point. The Bills, they keep doing weird stuff. They do
like what, Key? Like what?
Okay, my latest weird stuff. How can I set this up? Okay. They're trying out heavy tight ends. Okay. Now, do you remember 2-3 years ago who the heavy tight end was? Let me know if this rings a bell.
Or not Scott Chandler.
Now, let me know if this rings a bell. 68 is reporting is eligible. 68 is reporting is eligible. 68. I'd lie to you now. When me and Mel went to the games, we made fun of this. I had the whole section. They looked at me when the guy said it because they knew I was going to make fun of it. Bobby Hart. Bobby Hart's claim to fame. He was a horrible guard, not a good tackle, but he was a hell of a heavy tight end.
Right.
But guess what? Now he's gone. Who do we have last year? They had
David Andrews?
David Edwards.
Or Edwards, yeah, sorry.
David Edwards was our heavy tight end. And 76 reporting eligible. So over and over and over again. Yeah. So now David Edwards is our starting left guard for now at least. What do we do?
Andrew Bills. No?
Alec Anderson. Alec Anderson is who they have now.
He's hurt. He's done now.
He got airlift. He got He had to go to the hospital yesterday.
Yeah, he ain't coming back.
He had to go to. He had like heat stroke or something. I don't want to be. I don't want to speculate, but it wasn't an injury. They said, but they said he had to go to the hospital to be evaluated.
Well, then that has to be heat stroke. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous that they wouldn't announce it. Like there's no downside whatsoever to them saying whatever it is. Yeah, heat exhaustion, right?
Yep, there it is, heat exhaustion. I mean, the thing is, like, every time, you think Mel was getting at me with the long snapper? Now I got to listen to a heavy tight end, bro. A heavy tight end.
So wait, this heavy tight end is not even a tight end at all. They're just experimenting with linemen going out there and catching touchdowns.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this here. I don't know. I don't need to go into who we could have had, but basically, some of the best run blocking tight ends. Obviously, George Kittle, Charlie Warner. I don't know who that is. It's a backup in San Francisco. Will Disley, CJ Uzomah. I think he was a free agent at some point. Josh Oliver, Mercedes Lewis, Dallas Goedert.
Mercedes Lewis is perfect for that role if you just wanted a guy that blocked and occasionally caught a touchdown here and there.
That's what I'm getting at, though. Guys that play tight end, that actually give you something as a tight end playing the role. I don't care if you never, just like Josh Allen. You know he can run. It's a threat.
Right.
Nobody's scared of David Edwards in a 13.
Right.
Nobody think about that. But when you got Mercedes Lewis, who has shown you over the last 50 years that he can do this thing.
Pretty much.
He's old as all hell, but
right.
I mean, they show you that they can do. Even Dawson not, but all we got Alec Anderson. Because why?
Why?
Because they're trying to find a way to fit him on the team.
Ooh.
They don't want him to go to practice squad. They're trying to find a way to fit him on the team. So
if they can justify him by giving him a role, now all of a sudden they can't kick him off and have that be a non-judged decision, right? Let me ask you what you think about this too, because when I think about the role that a guy like Mercedes Lewis can play, these linemen, these big tight ends, that's only something you can do in a goal line situation when you're inside the two. Like you can't, like Alec Anderson otherwise would have no value to the team other than being an option if everybody else ahead of him gets hurt, in which I think that would have to be like 3 people before he would get called on to play. On top of that, a guy like Mercedes Lewis could play anywhere inside the 20.
Right.
He could come in as a blocker and you can go 3 tight ends.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that automatically adds a different dynamic, which is more valuable than anything Alec Anderson can give you at that point.
Could you imagine a world, and this is me being like you just for a second, but could you imagine a world where you have Mercedes Lewis, Dawson Knox, and Dalton Kincaid as your 13? The defenses, they see this now. They're okay, we're going to send a bigger, a 4-3, a true 4-3. Guess what? Kincaid can run almost like a wide receiver. Dawson Knox is pretty athletic. Line those two with those linebackers. Line them up.
Exactly.
You're killing somebody.
Ain't nothing they can do about it.
Nothing they can do about it because you're already in a set. Timeout.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
I mean, it's crazy, like the things you can do if you go outside that box that I talk about all the time. They won't get out of. And that's my agreements with McDermott. When I say I have agreements with you, like you just don't. They ain't heard you obviously, but at the same time, I don't have agreements with McDermott. This is agreements with his mind state that he won't get out of. And like I looked at tight ends to look at this year, and I'm like, all these guys that we can get, tight end out of Air Force, tight end out of Northwest, tight end out of Rutgers, none of these dudes are going in the first 3 rounds, but they're blocking tight ends, and they had some productivity in the passing downs as well. I expected us to take one, especially if they think like some of the fans do in terms of Dawson Knox and his standing on the team. A lot of people say Dawson Knox is out of here after this year. I don't believe that. But at the same time, I'm tired of Trey McKitty's. I'm tired of what's the other guy's name? Now I gotta look it up. Trey McKitty and somebody help me out with the other tight end. Lord Jesus. Oh God.
I actually quite like Trey McKitty. I think he was a good tight end. He played with the Colts too, right? Is that where he came from?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure he played with the Colts. But he's had a few opportunities to catch the ball in games, and he looks athletic enough. But he's definitely one of those more traditional style tight ends where he's not super athletic like a Dawson Knox or a Dalton Kincaid, but the value that you lose in his pass catching ability, you gain in his run blocking ability. So I think him being your third tight end is not bad. I honestly think they need to start looking more at 3 tight end sets in goal line situations as opposed to having an extra lineman out there. I get the advantage that gives you, but when you put a goal line defense in a position to have to second guess their rush because they might have to have that linebacker that's at the end there back off into coverage. He's got to worry about that now. He's got to pay attention to that. Mm-hmm. Any advantage that you can create where the defender has to take an extra second to think, that's an extra second advantage you have in execution as an offensive player. That's just the name of the game. It's simple NFL math, essentially. And I don't understand why they won't, at the very least, experiment with stuff like this. See if it works. But there's this overarching, huh?
No, go.
Okay. There's this overarching.
I like but go.
Yeah, this is kind of bad. There's this overarching, philosophy of, I know what it's supposed to look like. I know better than everybody else. We're going to do it this specific way, which will be guaranteed to produce, result X. You know what I'm saying? Which is my desired result. And what we've seen is, during the season, okay, you might be onto something. But postseason, where it really matters, where you're playing against better competition, better quarterbacks, better coordinators, better everything, what's your record at that point? I mean,
I think Laura asked me tight ends do we have on the team. What, Josh's record? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, Josh. Josh, let me just say real quick. Josh's record in terms of win-losses is the same as Sean McDermott's, right? But as a quarterback, I would say, and I could probably give you a lot of different ways that this is more of a Josh stat than a Sean McDermott stat, right? In my mind, I'll just say in my mind, in case anybody wants to argue, in my mind, when you look at game decisions in game by the coaches, right? All of that goes back to Sean, and everything that Josh has done in the playoffs has put the team in a position to either kick a game-winning field goal, kick a game-tying field goal, or put the team ahead by less than 7 points, right? Those are all the different situations that Josh has put us in at the end of games. All of the decisions that Sean has made has clearly and very fine-tuned, in a fine-tuned way, led us to a loss. And anybody who's trying to argue with me on that point, like you got to show me some proof. You got to show me somewhere where at the end of games Sean is making a decision that has not directly led to a loss. And then you also conversely have to show me a situation where something that Josh did at the end of a game directly led to a loss. Because I guarantee you, the one thing that people are going to bring up is this past year, the Chiefs game. Well, if he would have threw it to Stephon Diggs. Listen, we're not going back into that. I've already said what I said. You can check the receipts for what I said on that. But the bottom line of that situation is the man is playing to win the game. Mm-hmm. And he was in position with where he was going, where if he didn't get his man pushed into him, that pass is coming out with drive, it's coming out with accuracy, and it's getting to Shakir at the back of the end zone for a touchdown. And we're sitting here talking about how there's a minute and a half left, and oh my God, hopefully we can find some way to stop the Chiefs from marching down the field on us and scoring a go-ahead touchdown to leave us in despair yet again. Instead, that didn't happen because of a bunch of decisions that were made earlier in the game by Sean McDermott. So it's I just wanted to like make sure I clearly state that whole point in case people try to take that statement in a vacuum of, Josh's playoff record is better than Sean's record.
Yeah, no, I was before my thing started to go wacky, I was just going to say that Laura asked how many tight ends we usually keep. Last year we had 2, and then 3 with regards. If you want to count Quentin Morris and Gilliam, that's 4. But no, I mean you're the last guy I was talking about was Zach Davidson. That's the other tight end I was referencing. But yeah, I mean if you're talking about bringing a Mercedes Lewis or somebody like that to block, like you were saying about the decision making, people don't understand what kind of anomaly Dawson Knox really is if you don't you do that. Because Dawson Knox, they said this man, and you guys listen to Sal, I know it. You guys listen to Shout with Matt Perino and Ryan Talbot. You listen to these guys just like I do, because I can't be at all the practices as much as I would like to be. But they said Dawson Knox is ping-ponging people, knocking linebackers around in the red zone to catch the ball. They said he's out muscling people.
I mean, to be fair, how hard is that to do, really?
True.
when they're 6'1", 220 pounds, and he's probably 10 to 15 pounds heavier than that.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. But, I mean, the thing is, people say, oh, get rid of him and do what? Get another Dalton Kincaid? Yeah, I mean, you may as well get another wide receiver. You got a guy that can do what he does at his size and his speed and his age and athleticism and untapped talent. You got to remember, no touchdowns in college. DK Metcalf, DeMarcus Lodge, AJ Brown, and these are the guys that he was playing football with. There was no scraps for him on the plate. He's learning as we watched. We saw him go through his growing pains. We saw him get to where he is now. But at the same time, just be happy with what you got, because they developed that guy. But now I want more. We got Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid is our number one. He's number one. But Knox deserves his shine. He deserves being the team. He deserves recognition. And we see that when we're looking at all the time that we're spending on trying to find that heavy tight end that we just talked about.
Yeah. How much of a disservice do you think the contract they gave to Dawson Knox was when you consider the role that he's had on this team? Because it kind of seems like that's the thing that people point to as to why they don't want Dawson Knox on this team anymore. Well, He hasn't done anything. He hasn't caught any touchdown. And here we are watching TJ Hawkinson come into the league and tear it up. We're watching the kid in Detroit, Laporta, come in and tear up the league. Like all these young tight ends, Freiermuth in Pittsburgh comes in and has an immediate role. Like tight end is no longer one of those positions that takes 4 or 5 years to develop. Guys are coming in immediately. Dalton Kincaid, coming in and contributing immediately and making plays and showing that they can do something. And Dawson Knox, honestly, early on, he had that opportunity. I think he was getting like two targets a game or maybe 2 catches a game or something like that on average. But one of those catches was him stiff arming somebody or bowling somebody over or something that just made you look like, yo, when he finally gets more opportunities on his team, he is going to be something. Yeah. And then the injury happened, and I think the injury happened right after he got the contract, right? Was it right after the? Yeah. So all that happened, and now we're looking at the situation, in hindsight, saying that was a mistake. I don't think it was a mistake. The only reason I want him off the team is because of the contract. You can't go back to paying him less. Right. The NFLPA is not going to allow something like that to happen. They will make sure he finds money somewhere else. You know what I mean? And guess what? He's going to be dangerous wherever he goes. Yeah. I mean, is it his fault he caught 9 touchdowns in the red zone when his contract year? I mean, how many drops did he have the year before that versus how many drops did he have the year after? I mean, that's the thing. It's not, you can't look at it and say he didn't deserve the money. It was a bad contract. What they asked him to do changed. What they asked him to do changed dramatically when they drafted Dalton Kincaid. And trust me, they know they have Dawson Knox on the team, but they could not ignore Dalton Kincaid and what he could bring to the table. And now, if you look at, you look at your mic'd ups, you look at your embeddeds, and it's like, who's always talking to Kincaid? Josh Allen, Dawson Knox. There's always help. And Dawson Knox is not Mac Hollins in terms of I'm over the hill and I'm just trying to figure out how I can help this team the best.
he's still young and trying to get it. He's only, what, 27?
Yeah.
Something like that. So it's like, he's not even, we're talking about Mercedes Lewis, who's dang near I think he is my age, 39, 40, somewhere in there.
Yeah, he should be 40 right now. Yeah.
He's the same age as us. So, I mean, we're talking about, somebody that we're familiar with, but the same reason why we're hating on some of these players is the same reason why some of these players keep coming back the next year on the practice squad. Familiarity. Right. And I've seen this before. Now we've seen it before. Now everybody wants a new shiny toy, which I'm cool with it. But let's not try to misinterpret something that we're bringing in and try to market it as a shiny toy when it's really not. MVS, when he came into Buffalo, what did he do? That big MVS chain, and he's going to do this and take the top off. Well, guess what? They obviously don't think so because they didn't put him out there with the ones. They put him out there with the 2s and 3s. He's getting 1 reps, but so is Tyrell Savers. Tyrell Savers, who never left Buffalo this past offseason. Tyrell Savers, who's been here learning to play book. Tyrell Savers, who gets work after practice, who's hungry. He wants his opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want an underdog, that's the kind of guy you want. And when it comes to how they're building this team and culture, that's the culture you want. But on top of that culture, you have to go ahead and get your guys like that can teach Kareem Jackson. Seem like I don't mind the Kareem Jackson signing per se, but I mind what they may be asking him to do when he's here. I don't want him to be my starter. I don't want Burgess to be my starter. I want them to be the backups just in case our number 2 draft pick, Cole Bishop, can't go. Now he's week to week. Mike Edwards, he's week to week. Damar Hamlin, I guess he's going back to being on the back of an ambulance, not in the ambulance, not like that. I don't mean that, but you know what I mean, on the picture and on the sideline where he doesn't get the field.
Right.
That's I guess that's where he's going, even though he showed his butt. And Laura, I mean, address your comment about that one. So look at the telepathy right there. Love it. And I'm full disclosure, I'm letting everybody go from work. So give me 1 second.
All right. Well, let me say this while you do that. So
right.
When you're looking at the Kareem Jackson signing, you mentioned it wasn't a bad signing. I agree. I don't think it's a bad signing at all. I think it does give the Bills a playmaker on the back end that they've needed since Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer left. He's definitely more Jordan Poyer than Micah Hyde. But I would say he's probably the closest thing to being right in that perfect middle of Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer than anybody else we could have gotten not named Justin Simmons, right? And even with Justin Simmons, I would say Justin Simmons is probably a slightly better version than Micah Hyde at this, just at the ages that they're at right now, right? Yeah. So, but what does bother me about this is Justin Simmons, for where he is right now in the season, right? Mm-hmm. It's the offseason. Obviously, all these teams aren't going after him because his asking price is too high, right? Right. But let's think about what you're really giving up to sign a guy like that, right? Let's say his asking price is $8 million. First thing is, do the Bills have $8 million? The answer to that is yes. Right? Then the next question becomes, okay, what would let me rephrase. Would his value coalesce with what you're paying? Right? Would he be worth the money, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Would it be a situation where the production that you're getting on the field, the value you have in the locker room, and the impact that he has on the culture be enough to make you feel okay with spending the $8 million, right? Now, there's already been this kind of undertone of we have to make some concessions, we have to do things a little bit differently because of our cap situation, right? So the Bills are already they've told us that they're already in a position where some of the standards that they've had before have to change now because of the cap situation. They can't keep the same, type of team. They can't go out and get the same type of players. Okay, fine. But if you're okay making concessions the way you have with draft position, the type of players that you bring in through the draft. Now you're getting more guys who are more nuanced and are actually more productive in college, which is something the Bills were not doing the past 5 years before this year, or the past 6 years before this year. They were bringing in guys who were more developmental, but just had the traits. They were big on traits. This year, they went with guys who had a little bit more polish or had a little bit more skill and talent, right? But all of that is to say, what is the difference between the concessions that you've made with how you've drafted and the type of players that you've drafted and how you're building the team and the types of receivers that you get? What's the difference between all those concessions and the concession of, you know what, we need a playmaker on defense?
Yeah.
On the back end.
Yeah.
We got one at linebacker at the linebacker level, or we got two at the linebacker level.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're loaded at linebacker.
Yeah.
And we have possibly two at the defensive line level in Von Miller, who seems like he's just about that, and Ed Oliver, right? So we need at least one in the secondary. And I'm sorry, but Rasul Douglas should not be depended on to be the only guy back there making plays. If you get a Justin Simmons back there who can augment or complement Rasul Douglas's play and awareness and positioning on the field and all that kind of stuff, and have two of those guys in the secondary, listen, the formula is 2-2-2 for a defense that can be dominant. Look at all the other dominant defenses, right? It's 2-2-2. They got two playmakers in the secondary, two playmakers in the linebacking core, or one amazing one is enough at that point. And then either two playmakers on the defensive line or one amazing one that opens everything up for the slightly above average players around them, right? That's the formula to having a dominant defense. So when I'm looking at the Bills not going and getting a Justin Simmons, I have to ask the question, what's the difference between the concessions being made? Why did you choose? And here's the other thing, too. I need to look this up. How much did they pay Kareem Jackson?
It's not out yet. But I didn't see it. I was actually looking at Slow Track to see who we signed this year for another point I was going to make, but they didn't post it yet.
Okay. Well,
I'm guessing this is probably, I'd say 1.3, 1.4 million, somewhere in there. I would think.
Okay. That to me is like, that tells me Kareem Jackson was on his way out when you got him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was no real market for him. I don't think he's not a Justin Simmons where he was waiting to get out of the. Oh wait, you got to do it. We got somebody join there. Who's at the bottom?
There it is. Lex. Hey, we gotta give it to Steve Noble too. Steve Noble in the house.
Oh, I was ready. I was ready to do it. I was gonna let you get your point. I was like, yo, Steve's in Bill. But no, to get back to Laura's point, I was making it that I had to dismiss everybody on. In terms of, I give him credit for John Perry. I give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Gable Stevenson, no.
This is what you're referencing.
Yeah. Trying X receivers. I mean, who? I mean, you got Keon Coleman, okay, but then after that, they got a gadget guy in Curtis Samuel, who they said is a gadget guy. When they drafted Keon Coleman, they said he's our X, which means we really didn't have another plan at X besides him, because they said he's X the day he got drafted. So that tells me he's not in competition for that. Now it's his to lose, but he has to do something really bad to lose it. I just don't see where bringing in all these depth safeties, bringing in all these offensive linemen, bringing out all these defensive linemen is really anything that they haven't done before. I could be wrong, but I feel like, the only thing that they've done this offseason out of this list here is John Perry, that's something new. Yeah. Obviously nobody's had that position on their team before. So I 100% agree that, he's doing what he thinks is new. He's doing what he thinks is going to get him over the edge, but there's nobody to tell him, hey, man, we've seen this movie before. You're doing it again. You're doing it again. And
you and Kev are on the same page.
I was going to say, who's Kev? You kept him from me. I like this guy. But no, and the thing is, and Laura knows that she picks on me. I pick on her all the time too, so I'm not worried about it. But when it comes to what Kev said a little earlier, McDermott thinks he's safe because the owner's only up to age 17 to get him fired. Close to it. Close to it. Josh Allen is singularly the most important person on the team. Everybody will say McDermott, which I understand because he's the head coach, but the owner, he don't care about football. All he cares about is money. And he losing a lot of it on Josh Allen. $258 million of it. And it's gonna be more too, because I got that too. Because I think Allen's the 15th highest paid quarterback now. So
probably, yeah.
Yeah. He's 15th, but he's a 12th overall player and second, maybe third best quarterback in the league, and getting paid as a 15th. And some of the names on that list are just, what's the word they use now? Diabolical. I don't know when that word became a new thing. That's like the new word now. Diabolical. Yeah.
You know who was using that was who's the guy that used to do he might still do it. The guy who does the commentary for Madden, black dude. No, he used to do it. He's not. He doesn't do it now. It's the other guy that does he's the voice of he does college announcing.
Yeah, it's Fagula listens to the podcast. Fagula don't listen to anything but his pockets.
right. And his pockets are not saying go and drill another hole. No,
right.
No, not like that's work. That's an investment he's got to make. He's getting free money from the state now. Like it's over. His working days are over. He's got the state bent over, giving him whatever he wants.
Whatever you want. I mean, you figure he's drilling a hole right next to the stadium to put another stadium there.
Right. That's what he meant when he said, if I need more money, I'll just drill another hole. Joint right across the street.
Right.
You're right.
And if I build it, you will come. But I mean, that's the thing is when you talk about what they really are doing in terms of building a team, it's like they stay with the same thing with different faces. It's always the same philosophy of players. Everybody. We went from speed guys before. Where? Who? Because somebody, I don't remember who said it, but somebody said the Bills went from the speedy guys to the big guys. What speed? Steph Diggs was a 4.42. Shakir was a 4.42. I
think they were talking about John Brown.
Oh, that's a while ago then, because you're thinking about they called Deontay Hardy a speed guy, and I looked that up and I told you he was almost a 4.5.
Right.
He was hand timed at his pro day at a 4.35, which is BS. I don't even care about pro days times.
Lindsay, do we need to talk about this? Do we need to talk about this?
Well, we may have to. And yeah, we did. We did see Kim in the huddle. It was kind of bittersweet because she did not look like herself, but at least she's still walking and at least she's still breathing. So that's the consolation. Obviously Kim is probably not going to ever be the Kim that we remember, but as long as she's still Kim, I'll take that as a win. But no, and I was looking at all the safeties that we could take in this upcoming draft. I got guys that will be dropping names. Oh yeah,
season ain't even started yet. Dang, Key.
Oh, but you got to keep your eyes on the prize.
You do.
When they sleep, you eat. Yeah, right. when they sleep, you eat. So I mean, I definitely I perused. I fell asleep with Kobe doing work last night. Yeah, no.
There you go.
That was a good one. But no, I mean, you got. Let's see, who do just what I had to talk about with Kareem Jackson. Now, I didn't realize when we signed him, he was a headhunter. He was that dude last year, and it's funny, it's been covered now. But yeah. The one that he got suspended twice last season for intentional unnecessary roughness. And I was looking. I got all here. Well, all of his infractions. His releases, his signings, his this, his that. The man, he got suspended October 24, 2023 for unnecessary roughness. He got reinstated on November 14th. So what's that? Roughly 3 weeks, 3 games. On November 14th, he got reinstated. November 20th, he got suspended again. So he played a full game before getting suspended for another 4 games for intentional unnecessary roughness, and they finally released him after he got off that suspension.
Bro, let me just say.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say.
Mm-hmm.
How can I explain this? When you're used to how do they say it? When you're used to gently placing what trees are made of on their side calmly, or otherwise known as laying the wood.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you know. I mean, Jordan Poyer was essentially the same guy. Now Kareem Jackson is like Jordan Poyer on acid. Like I wouldn't say head and shoulders, better than Jordan Poyer, but they are essentially the same player. And Kareem Jackson has been very, very good for the Broncos and the Texans. And even before that, he was a good corner. That's where he came from. He was a corner. So
I was wondering more so, was it more so because of his age?
As far as why he started hitting.
He's not. I don't think he's. I think he's just late to the party. I think that's what it is, because he knows his technique is over with.
No, that's not his game. His game has always been. He's always been a hard hitter, bro. He's always been one.
But looking at his penalties in his final years, that's where he's getting the unnecessary roughness and the personal fouls. It wasn't early on. That's the thing I understand. Yeah. Like early in his career, it really wasn't there. It really started to pick up in, I'd say, let me take a look real quick. You can talk. I'm sorry.
Well, no. I think to that degree, you're right. He's not as fast as he used to be, so he can't make plays on the ball, but he can still get in position to make a play on the player. And I think what we're seeing are just unfortunate circumstances of timing. You know what I'm saying? He's never been known as a dirty player, never, right? But with the new rules in the NFL and targeting rules and all that kind of stuff, it's a very thin line between suspensions and great hits. And more times than not, the refs are going to throw the flag just to be on the safe side for the sake of the public opinion. You know what I'm saying? So
every penalty he's had since 2019 has been unnecessary roughness or disqualification for targeting.
You know what?
Yeah.
Which would you prefer? Would you prefer a timid Cole Bishop or a Mike Edwards that tries to just tackle the guy?
Don't do that, because I was giving Mike Edwards time. I was giving benefit. You about to put him back you about to put him back there. And I can't. You about to put him back?
I'm just asking, which would you rather have? You want a guy that's gonna put fear in receivers' minds, or you want a guy that's gonna kind of make plays here and there?
Well, of course, I want the guy that's gonna hit. But what in Columbus, I will address that honestly. He said Jackson's gonna have to rain that tough. No, he's not. He better not see the field that often. He's not. He can't cost his game. If he on the field, it costs his games. The game is lost. I mean, honestly, that's how I feel. But no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I want a timid guy. I'm not saying what he's playing wrong, but what I'm saying is, in the twilight years of his career is when all this stuff started to really, really unfold. Before that, he was getting defensive holdings. He was getting pass defender. The usual run-of-the-mill stuff. But after 2019, it was like that's when he started trying to grab and when you get a lot of those targeting calls, what are you trying to do? You're late. You're trying to separate the guy from the ball. So my thing is that's what I started thinking. Like, is it because he's later than he used to be? And that's where I was, and like you said, he was a cornerback, and then he now became a safety or quasi safety. It's like I'm just trying to figure out. I have no problem with. I don't think he's a dirty guy, and people say, I don't think so. I just think that he's trying to find his footing as a 36-year-old man in his fast A-word league, and I think he's just late to the party, and that's where I came up with that thought. I could be wrong. I have to look at it.
I mean, it's fair. It's fair. He's definitely lost a step. I'm not even gonna, as a corner. Part of the reason he had to become a safety is because he wasn't great in man coverage by any means, right? But in zone coverage, he could do some work, right? And so I remember I forget who drafted him. Kareem Jackson.
His first game, or Kareem Jackson's first season.
Who drafted him?
He was, let's see. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'll put it. I was looking at his penalties. He was in Houston first, then went to Denver, then went back to Houston.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I remember him being with the Texans as a corner his first couple of years.
First 5.
But there you go. So it's definitely one of those situations where you've got a guy who's up there in age and he's going to have to make plays with hits. Unless the Bills are just so dynamic in the tip drill game. And they're getting hands up all over the place, and you just can't find a window to throw to. I think the entire defense is going to have to be healthy for us to see that kind of thing. First off, but secondly, I do think it's that's fine. I do think it's a situation where you want him to be aggressive no matter what. If you try to tell a player to dial anything back, you're going to lose more than you want. That's the way the game works. Once you start making a player have to think about what he's going to do, start to think about, how hard he's about to hit a guy, like that's where we get into trouble. And I don't want to take us too far off topic, but just to bring this thought into the conversation. And we can, touch on this whenever you want. But this was part of the reason why I was so upset in hearing everything that I heard in the press conferences with the way that they're developing the scheme and the way that they're teaching these players. Because you're essentially putting these guys in a position to have to think more than react, right? Especially the young players. You need to have a scheme in place or teach the scheme in such a way or even just create a role for these young players to get in and execute whatever they're great at. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you've drafted these guys with a mindset of exactly what they do great will fit perfectly into what we already do. We don't have to change anything. We don't have to develop anything. We don't have to, do anything different in order to incorporate these guys into.
Well, all right.
Yeah. The honesty is lovely there. Thank you. But yeah. So that's one of the things that kind of it frustrates the life out of me because where's the focusing of thought? What is the true plan? What's the vision at that point? If you're just doing all this stuff that contradicts one another, you know what I'm saying? None of it makes sense. And I don't think they wanted to. I think they enjoy being able to do whatever they want, having everybody confused until they see the product on Sundays.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that signing was one that you would make earlier on if you wanted, a depth guy. For me, Columbus and Laura, they were together. But let's see. Where we at? Steve Noble, he said Jackson had 90 tackles and 22 and 50 last year. He stays healthy, participates. That's true. But the point is, that's a low bar, and I can step over it. I can big show over that bar. I don't even have to jump because that's like what we looked at when we went through our exercise about the Mount Rushmore Bills. It really forces you to see what we really had in the past, who our guys were. You're talking about, and I promise I'm not trying to take any gesture, but like Fred Jackson's and Kyle Williams and guys like that who make your top 4 that weren't even drafted or drafted low and backed up forever. Whereas you got teams that have once in a generation guys, and Josh may be that guy for us, that once in a generation guy, but at the same time, other teams have Ray Lewis's and Ed Reed's and on offense they had what's the name, Jamal what's the running back they had, Jamal Jamal, the running back for the Ravens. Jamal.
Oh my gosh, what is his name? Jamal.
Lewis? No.
Yeah, Jamal Lewis. Yep.
Okay.
Lewis. Yep.
Yeah, they had. I mean, they had a Mountain Rushmore that did not go back to the 60s. You didn't have to go back that far to find these people. Whereas we're scrambling at, and yeah, Tom Seastat might have been good, and Fred Smerlas, a nose tackle is on the Wall of Fame. But like I said, I'm not trying to get into downplaying it. Even in Justin, I make fun of Fred and Kyle, but the point is, that's how our team is built. We're always the good old boys. We're always the tryhards. But we don't have the elite once in a generation because McDermott and even before that didn't go get it. Now you got Josh Allen. You have guys that probably could, that you might be able to field. You might be able to get these guys to come, and they're not 38, 30, 39 years old or whatever the case may be. You can get them closer to their prime, even if they slightly falling off. You can get guys that go into their prime, Poyer and Hyde,
right,
and get 7 years out of them. But instead, we keep bringing back Brian Thompsons and Andy Isabellas and Elian Kuz, and they shouldn't be here. We've seen them for 3 years. Yeah. We know what they are. And that's the part for me that drives me mad about how they construct this team. And Kareem Jackson, fine, but now we're talking about we got to make sure he plays because we don't want to see Tamar Hamlin. I didn't say that, but that's what people are saying. They're banking on him and they're banking on Burgess because they don't want to see Tamar. They don't want to see Cam, and now Cam is practicing that safety too. I mean, he is listed as a safety, but the point is that's how far we've fallen because they go ahead and they load us up with 18 guys, 18 guys in the D back room. And you got to go get 2 more because 2 guys got hurt.
He's only 2 years removed from practice in that corner, Cam Lewis.
Right. And that's the thing, it's killing me because you stock the room up. And for me, if you're going out to get Kareem Jacksons and Terrell Burgesses and people like that, that's because you only have 2 healthy guys and you need an extra person. But we got 16 more guys in the room, so you're telling them we don't have faith in you. Kyrie, who said that? Somebody said that in here. Oh, Columbus. Or was it Columbus that said it? Try Elam as safety. Lindsay said it too. Somebody else. I want to give you credit. I can't remember.
Yes, thank you.
But that's the thing. Like when you have a guy who's getting second team reps or first team reps at cornerback, throw him in there with a third team at safety when Kyrie Elam, when he's a backup anyway. I know. But what I'm getting at is don't tell me you have to go get Terrell Burgess because you don't have anybody left when you got guys on the team that are in a room that you're not even using fully.
Well, yeah, okay, but hold on. So when I saw these comments about Elam, I definitely want to address that because here's what gets missed in the Elam to safety conversation. Bully, I'm with you. He's got a safety bloodline that speaks to what's in his DNA. Like something like that would be natural for his skill set, right? And yes, he's a ball hawk, but he is an unwilling defender against the run. That's part of that. That's in his draft notes. The what is it called? The scouting report. He's not a willing tackler in the run game, right? So what happens when you put a safety back there who's an unwilling tackler in the run game? You end up with some of the things that we saw from Micah Hyde. Not saying that Micah Hyde was an unwilling tackler, but that wasn't the strength of his game. He wasn't strong against the run. And that's part of the reason why they always had him, single high or too deep. You know what I mean? You almost never saw Micah Hyde in the box. That wasn't his strength. What you lose when you put a safety out there like that, who's more ball hawk than run defender. I'm not saying he's soft. I'm just saying.
You're like, hey yo.
All I'm saying is when you put a defender out there like that at safety, and he's not a willing tackler in the run game, is you open up opportunities like we've seen this defense endure for the last 6 years, where guys just run through the defensive line because let me explain this before I finish the point. The defensive scheme the Bills run is a gap control scheme. And what that means is the defensive linemen on any play call are going to try and hold a specific position relative to the positioning of the offensive line, right? What that's supposed to do is that's supposed to open up very specific holes that the linebackers cover and the safeties cover. Okay. One of the things that I like about having the safeties that we have this year is I think the run defense will be much better. When you have safeties that can get in the box and tackle and shed blocks and are aggressive against the run, you are not going to have as many of the big run plays as you would typically have. And that was one of the things that was one of the strengths of Sean McDermott's Panthers defense that we saw, right? I think we ended up being in a situation where we couldn't play that same style because Micah Hyde wasn't as strong against the run. And so we did a lot of single high safety stuff. We did a lot of cover shell and all that kind of stuff. So that and a big portion of that was to protect Micah Hyde, right? The second we change what we have now, we're going to be right back to where we were square one against the run. I think it is an advantage to have the safeties that we have. I think it is an advantage in terms of better overall defensive play, because one of the things that Sean is great at is hiding his secondary. One of the things that Sean is great at is making sure that his secondary doesn't get beat deep, right? So even if you have safeties that are good at just not letting anything get behind them and they're not ball hawks like Micah Hyde, that still helps the defense immensely, right? And I think we'll see that this year.
Yeah, I see that, and that's the dynamic that I thought we were going to get back. And it seems like they don't need that single high guy, that finesse safety that we've had in Micah Hyde Friday. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around, because I personally like that dynamic. The guy that can make that interception against the Patriots in the playoff game, the guy that can come out of nowhere and make magic happen when you didn't know it could be made. You know, and people that say Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer were synonymous, I don't understand how. You know, I mean, I see the talent level and the story of them, you know, being synonymous, but at the same time, the skill set was like a Reese's cup. It was that perfect blend of chocolate and peanut butter, just all blended together and make a nice little product. You know, and when you got Rappin and Bishop, you got Rappin, Hamlin, you got Rappin, and you name it, two strong, quasi-strong safeties. It's like, okay, but who's going to be the playmaker? You know, now you got run fits, you got this, you got that, but you know, like Steve said, they're the Bash Brothers, but I don't know if I want Bash Brothers. You know, I want one guy to come up there in that box, another guy I feel confident can be in that back, the single high that can watch the whole field, that can read it and make a play. And I just don't get that feel out of anybody that's not out that we have on this team right now. And that's talking about what we have, 5-6 safeties. I mean, D. Delaney, where is he? Kenai Lovely, where is he? I mean, you see Jamarcus Ingram is making plays. I mean, can he be a safety? He's not going to really see any time on the field as a cornerback, you know. Yeah. But obviously they like him on the team. But that's the creativity that I want from my team when you're going through these hardships in the second week of training camp. You know, now is a time that you don't go out there and spend more cap on these overpriced veterans that can't find work anywhere else right now. When you got all these other guys, you still got to evaluate. I mean, you're talking about one-on-one still. You're talking about the majority of the things they do in training camp are one-on-one drills. They're shell drills or things like that. And you can still get working with these guys. And you might find a diamond in the rough. But instead, like they always do, they go out and they find somebody else that has done it somewhere before and probably not as good as they used to be because they're cheap now. They can't afford to. They can't afford anything else but what they have on the team because they painted themselves into a corner.
They are the kings of the stopgap player, essentially. While this guy develops, you go in there and you take all the reps and you do the job for us until he's ready. And it's one of those things where, like, I said this in a comment. I forget who it was to, but it's one of those philosophies that sounds nice until you have to implement it against elite competition. And then all of a sudden it don't sound so nice. Then all of a sudden you realize, man, those stopgap players that I got when I got my more athletic, more talented guys sitting on the bench rotting, and then by the time they get to the to the playing field, they you know what I mean? They're doubting themselves, or they gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like it's too much of a mind game for where players are nowadays. It's too much of an ask for guys that are used to being given opportunities left and right without having to ask, without having to earn specifically because, and by no means do I want people to take from what I'm saying that these college players and high school players are not earning these things, because that's why they're being given the opportunities, because they're doing the work off the field. They're like knowing what Will Johnson puts into his day-to-day routine, his work ethic, his mentality to how he studies tape and all, like seeing what that looks like from a real college player that I've talked to before. Like, these guys earn these roles. They don't really have this mentality of I should get it just because of who I am. Mm-hmm. They have this mentality that I should get it because of the long history of work that I put together that you can go and look at whenever you want to see proof that my off-season stuff, my mentality, my work ethic, all of that is worth the opportunity that I should be getting from you. And if I'm not getting that,
I'm sorry.
No, I know.
Okay.
I get it. If I'm not getting that, well, I know I'm not the problem. You know what I mean? Like it's a moral thing. It's demoralizing in a sense, But that's what Sean wants. Sean doesn't want egos coming in the door. He wants guys to be broken and demoralized, and then adopt his culture and his philosophy and his mentality, so that they'll develop this kind of follow mother hen around type of mentality. I forget what the actual scientific term for it is, but it's ridiculous is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, and that's the kind of thing that I want in the locker room. Like you said, somebody that like you said, Will with the studying film and this, that, and third. Like they say Tyrell Shavers. And I think who was it? Laura? Oh yeah. You think camp is a good indicator of real life in the NFL? No. But you can't trust the Elam hype. Don't listen to any hype. Don't listen to Josh Allen hype. Don't listen to James Cook hype. Even for me, don't listen to any Von Miller. I heard somebody say he's back. He's back. He's about to 10 to 15 sacks. If he gets you 10 to 15 sacks, God bless. But I don't. This is the same thing with Kareem Jackson. He's 35 years old. 10 to 15 sacks is an anomaly. And plus, you got to look at how much they rotate. Is he going to be on the field enough to get 10 to 15 sacks? Are they going to trust him enough to do that? I mean, these are the questions you got to ask. Maybe he has a talent, but they said when they signed Von to it, put it like this. They signed a 32-year-old Von Miller coming not first off of, but coming off of an MVP season, not too far removed, a Super Bowl, and said he's going to be in a rotation. They gave $120 million to put him in a rotation.
Yep.
What makes you think at 35 years old he's going to play enough? When they're trying to figure out Gregory, so they just gave up on this a contract extension. They got Javon Solomon in the building now. I don't see a world where he gets enough opportunity to even produce like you think he's going to. And what's going to happen is when he doesn't produce to that level, he was no, you got to look at it again. That's the Dawson Knox complex. Yeah. What they ask you to do is not congruous with what you're getting paid sometimes. And you got to look through what they're telling you and what you think, what you expect, because you see somebody making this kind of money, it just doesn't work that way. And that's the hardest thing for me to try to figure out, because like a couple of people said, even in other podcasts, no knee brace, no this, no. Von Miller, the first day of pads, wasn't even practicing. He was on vet rest day. Tyrion Johnson, vet rest day. Matt Milano, I didn't even see him, and I was there. So it's the thing is, don't listen to none of the hype, good or bad. MVS might suck in training camp. Some guys don't practice well. Some guys don't play. They practice better than they play. So you're gonna see somebody, they'll be in practice just ripping it up, tearing them to shreds. You get in the game, like, what happened to this cat? Is he hurt? Is it him? I don't know. But then some guys on the practice field, Kyrie Elam in the practice field, obviously is not that great because he can't get on the field.
Yeah.
But we all saw when he played on that field, what did he do? He produced. Of course, he's gonna get burned sometimes, but he produces, and that's what these guys don't understand. They don't understand that you don't just get to show everything you got on the practice field. When you guys go on Friday or tomorrow night, that's when you see a little more of what these guys can do. When you see them play on the, I think it's the 8th. Is it the 8th? That's when you get to see even more when they play against real talent. When they have the joint practice against the Steelers, you get to see a little more because they don't know who they're playing. I can tell you right now, when you practice against one guy for this long, when you practice against somebody for 2-3 weeks, a year, and already Spencer Brown, Greg Rousseau, of course I know what you're going to do. I know your moves. I know how you feel when you punch. I know how you feel when you rip. I know how low you go on a bend. And this is stuff this is the unknown when you play against teams that you don't practice every day. And that's when you find out who the real players on your team really are.
Right. Steve said, what happens on the D ball? What happens when a running back breaks the first level? Can't hide bad philosophy for only so long.
And unfortunately, Steve I agree.
Yeah, 100%. So the practice that the Bills are holding tomorrow, the blue and red game.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Damaris about this, and my question to him was, can we pull from this practice tomorrow what the schemes on defense and offense are going to be? He said, yeah, absolutely. It's practice. This is what they're going to be trying to do in games, right? So it'll be very interesting to see, what kind of things they do, and obviously they're not going to show us the more nuanced stuff to the public. That that stuff they say for
even when the media can't show, yeah,
right, closed practices, but they are gonna have to show certain things, right? They're not gonna be able to hide formations. They're not gonna be able to hide, what it looks like on the field. Route combinations. They're not gonna be able to hide that stuff. So it'll be very interesting to see, where they go with it. But I think tomorrow is definitely going to be the first real indicator that we're going to get as to what the heck they want to do, because right now it just looks and it smells bad. The signings that we had, I will say, I'm probably a little bit more optimistic on those than it sounds like you are.
Probably.
But it's one of those situations where these were the guys that I wanted earlier in the offseason. You know what I mean? Go and get these guys earlier and show me that you're serious about putting together a solid secondary and filling the holes that you have. And the guys that they picked before that, the Mike Edwards and the Taylor Rapp and all that kind of this whole notion that Taylor Rapp doesn't have to earn anything.
Oh no, yeah.
Like that to me is a contradiction. This dude played in 6 games last year?
Yeah, something like that,
if I'm not mistaken. And what did he earn?
Nothing. He earned a 3-year deal that's only worth 1 real year. That it's got two voidable years, so they can get out of it after this year.
Exactly.
Mike Edwards, a 1 year, $1.1 million, $2.3 million. They gave this guy $2.3 million. He had 1 start in the season, and he played with the Chiefs. So okay, fine. He has a ring. He has a 1 ring, I think it is. And wow, okay, now we're on to something, because this guy he did stuff. He wore the Chiefs shorts. So let's give him $2.3 million. But let's give MVS, because he was on the Chiefs, money, and we got Tyrell Shavers who's getting them. We got KJ Hamler who's out playing them. We got a guy in Chase Claypool who we signed after MVS, who even with a bad toe is still being considered as one of the top 6. And people are saying, and this is what's going to bite you in the butt. It tells you like you need to know about McDermott. If he keeps MVS, it's got everything to do with that signing bonus, unless he turns it around in practice. Because there's no other reason to keep him over KJ Hamler. There's no other reason to keep him over Tyrell Shavers.
Unless Josh likes him.
Well,
Josh likes him.
Then. He must like his collard greens or something. Who was it? So Steve Lynn had a comment. Oh, yeah, 746. And he said, what happens on the deep ball? What happens when the running back? Yeah, okay, you can put it. I forgot we got this technology now.
Bells and whistles, Keyshon.
Bells and whistles. I see it. I'm still in the studio. But what happens on the deep ball? Exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. Where is Hyde? Where's the new Hyde? Where's that Cam Kinson? Where's that Javon Bullard? Where are those guys?
Shoulder deep in somebody's ribs. That's where they are. Especially Kareem Jackson. He'll be chest deep in somebody's neck.
As long as it's a crossing pattern and not a go route, because in that case, you remember that ankle conversation we had, that ankle tackle conversation we had that didn't get? That's what you're gonna see this time too.
Yeah.
I think I might have been with Columbus and Laura that day, because I was like, wait, how do you just die for the? And I was starting to get like, yo, that makes no sense. What are you guys talking about? But
Mac knew what I was talking about. Mac knew. He did. It was very.
I was like, I can't figure this out.
Yeah, that's right. And we were so technically sound with it too. Like you get the same thigh position that you usually get with the one leg with the one hand, and then you just go in front of the other ankle. Like that's it. And then you grab and hold on to the ankle. It's very simple. It's not hierarchy.
It's quite simple. It's quite simple. You slide down, trip them up, boom. I'm like, we're going for ankles. Everybody don't get Josh Allen now.
It looks like that's where the league wants to take people, but we'll see.
Did you see that? The sidebar before I get to Steve's comment. Did you see that league where it was a little league where they had full pads on, but it was flag? They had a helmet and pads on, and they had flags. It was flag football. Yep.
We're in trouble.
I was like, wait, did I drink something? What am I looking at? I got to figure this out. Why does this look like this? I mean, he had everything. Man, I was drunk on something. He had the man had all equipment on, cleats, shoulder pads, thigh pads, knee pads. And I don't know. Oh, they talking about the Wyatt Wright from
from Bass?
Bass, yeah. And Steve Noble sure practiced better than he played. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Now, to be fair,
keep that dream alive. Keep that dream alive.
2024. Well, Laura said she was thought the year was gonna be a bust, but now she's like LFG. I don't know what we did, but I'm glad we did it somehow.
Yeah.
Because there's something about Simmons. Yes, it's that he won't take less money. He wants money, and he doesn't want to go to training camp. I can tell you that he doesn't want to go to training camp. He's not taking a less deal. He wants a deal still.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a money thing with Simmons. It's not a health thing. He's as healthy as he can possibly be right now. A lot of the stuff that he's dealt with injury wise has not even been that serious. I think he had one big injury, and that's been about it his entire career. Mm-hmm. Not saying that's the only injury he's had, but like that's right. that one big injury wasn't even as serious as some of the stuff that Von Miller's been through or some of the other guys we had. There really is no justification for not signing that guy outside of the money. Mm-hmm. I don't see any other logical explanation other than we're not putting a guy on the team that is going to be making more money than some of the other longer tenured guys that we're expecting to come in and play a leadership role. You know what I mean? When you're looking at Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown as your leaders on offense, the two guys who are, as you guys put it, those are the guys that are kind of taking the reins and becoming the leaders on offense and being the vocal guys.
Right.
If that's where we are, I'm sorry. That is not the kind of team that goes in and wins the. Your tackles are the offensive leaders. Your tackles.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I just don't know what I'm looking at. I think I must have wasted my time when I went to the training camp with everybody. The offense looked amazing and the defense was bad, and this. And I saw it the other way around.
Yeah,
I literally saw the offense was catching up and defense had the juice. Mel said it just like I said it.
Yep, same thing Damaris said too. Defense is looking good. Offense is not looking great at all.
No, they don't. There's a little grabby on the back end, but whatever. We're talking about Jamarcus Ingram, who's locking up. I don't want to say locking up because it's disrespectful to Cam, but if you listen to anybody talk about the one-on-ones, Jamarcus Ingram is getting his money out of Keon Coleman. Coleman he best him later, but Jamarcus Ingram he ain't to play. Tyre Elam ain't back there playing. Right. Christian Benford they ain't playing, and that's the mentality that you want. As you look at the offense, I saw nobody really talking. I saw the whole defense trying to beat up Alec Anderson before anybody else figured out what was going on. I saw one side who was physically imposing as well on the other side. And I refuse to believe that I went on just that one day that this actually happened. Every other day it was the opposite. I just can't believe that. But yeah, I mean, like you said, this, and Demir said as well, this offense. And you asked me last show, or you asked me and Mel last show, what side do you wish you could change or tweak the philosophy? Which one are you more worried about? This offense. Yeah, we got Josh. Everybody, Josh. I'm not saying Josh isn't one of the best in the league. That's not what I'm saying at all. But this is not basketball where he can take over a game by himself. You got to throw the ball to somebody.
Right.
Somebody got to block for you. Somebody got to run behind you, and we need to identify somebody with some swagger. That's the word we used to use back in the day, swagger. And I'm still looking for somebody to bring that out. The opportunity is there. There's nobody to beat. The only person on offense worth salt, no disrespect, DeAndre Spencer, is Josh. Everybody else on the team, Steph is gone. Hell, Gabe is gone. You're talking about filling a roster, fill the swagger leader. Dawson Knox. Yeah, they look at him because he's the third oldest offensive player on the team or whatever, fourth oldest, third. But the thing is, where we have the room leader, but where's the team leader? Where's the offensive captain? When you tell me who the captain is on the offensive side besides Josh, I need to be like, oh, I knew it. I saw it. And right now, they all seem like it's going to be Gabe Davis's. So I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Where that happened? When? It's going to be James Cook. It's going to be Deion Dawkins, Spencer Brown, Dawson Knox. Those are your captains right now on offense. And Dawson Knox told you straight up, I'm not really vocal. Yeah. If you need a question, if you want a hand, you want a hug, you want somebody to give you some advice, I'm here. But I'm not going to impose my will on you. James Cook just came off his best season, his second year in the league, his first year where he actually got a chance to do what he's supposed to do. And 100 days was available or is available. The holdup is there. You don't want to have 21 people in that room now. That's the holdup. But this is going to anger if you really wanted to do something about this team, and I know we got to wrap up soon, but if you really want to do something about this team, why did you take Tylen Grable and Travis Clayton in the 6th and 7th round when your boy James Williams was there at safety? This is what you could do with James Williams. You try him out at safety, which we're still trying to fill. Obvious by the fact we just signed Terrell Durges. We got Mike Edwards. We got Kareem Jackson. We don't know what we're doing there. Put him there. Or if he doesn't work out there, guess what? He can play linebacker. He could be
exactly.
He'd be your biggest linebacker, wouldn't you? Let's see.
6'5", 230 pounds. Yeah,
that's the biggest one. So, and he's obviously rangy, and he does exactly what you want your linebacker to do: cover in space.
Yep.
But we go ahead and get a 91 man, the 91st man on the team in Travis Clayton, and we get Tylen Grable, who is a project that I didn't even see on the field on Monday.
Jeez.
This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Me and Mel didn't even know. We didn't even know who, what number MVS was when we were watching the thing. We probably said, "Oh, snap him! Oh, snap him!" Nah, it was Shavers. It was well, I knew KJ Hamler was little, so I wasn't worried about. I knew that wasn't him, but we're trying to find the guy, and it didn't separate. And we weren't there to watch Keon Coleman. We were there to look at our wide receivers.
Yeah. I want to address this one real quick. Steve says, "Okay, but the secondary talent is sorry. Why not spend some money? We are aware that the AFC has all the QBs and receivers except us, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like the issue is not spending the money. The issue is what spending the money says about the importance of the culture to Sean.
Mm-hmm.
That's my theory, but that's based on a lot of the actions that we've seen Sean do to this point. For Sean to go out and give Justin Simmons the $8 million to come in and be a playmaker for this defense, it immediately rips away the leadership opportunity of Taylor Rapp. Mm-hmm. It just takes those right off the table. So even if Taylor Rapp married Sean McDermott's daughter and became his son-in-law, there is no way the team is putting Taylor Rapp over Justin Simmons. There's no way. Right. So it's more of a political issue at this point than anything else. The second they decided that Taylor Rapp was going to be the leader safety guy, that was the second that we lost all opportunity to sign a guy like Justin Simmons. Kareem Jackson, this stage of his career, man, if he gives us anything this year that looks like an interception, you know what I'm saying? Like he's just at that stage. And that's part of the reason why he's probably not getting paid nearly as much as what Justin Simmons is going to get paid. Mm-hmm. And Justin Simmons is going to get paid. Don't make any mistake about that. He's not going to. I can't see him taking less than $5 million.
No,
I really can't.
I can't see him getting that close.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do have to run, but I wanted to say I agree with Steve Lynn when in terms of Clayton should try defense. I've said it a million times. That's a no-brainer to me. MVS, it does remind me of OJ Howard in training camp, a big bust. McDermott's garbage, getting exposed every game except the 2 against Miami. I don't even care if it's Miami. I don't even care. I want to be what they are. If they're great, they're great. If they're not, they're not. I'll be the first one to tell you I was wrong, and Mike Edwards is the next coming of Micah Hyde and Taylor Rapp is that dude. I'll be the first one to tell you guys that, but I have to see it first.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm out of here. But
all right, we don't. I forgot to upload the closeout music, but we'll just make this quick because you got to go. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. All the information that's usually in the description is there. We got the Reed's Tea link. Okay, that is, listen, like the motto says on the logo there, best tasting tea in town. Okay, if you haven't tried it yet, go try it. Link is in the description. Go ahead and check that out. You can order it. There's a little question on the job form that says, how have you heard about us? There's an option for the Post Podium podcast there. Just go ahead and check that before you buy. Other than that, Key, you got anything else you want to say before you jump?
Hey, man, I want you guys to know that I appreciate you guys being flexible to be here on a Thursday, flexible to watch this in our homes while we try to give you the best product we can. I want to like, comment, and subscribe to you guys because without you, there'd be no us. So I really, and I think you guys know me, know that I really believe that and mean that from the bottom of my heart.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, Do Champions Network on Monday. That's our official launch episode on the new network. Make sure you like, subscribe over there and all that because that's where that episode is going to be. Check us out on Monday, 6 p.m. sharp. We'll see you then. Thank you, everybody.
Deuces.